Hello, hello. Welcome to the Goggler podcast. Ian, Bahir, and Uma with you. Coming at you in a week when Malaysia sank to another low of idiocy. Now, there is a group of people out there who want to sue the government for vaccine mandates. They've been
Huh?
watching
Huh?
far too much Fox News.
I thought I was going to take
Dude.
some photos and post about how, look, this is how it's done. The sign says, no mask, no entry. Scan your app that we all have to use. And yet some people are still at the storefront going, I do what now? It's been 2 years. Have you just been frozen? Were you frozen in ice the whole time?
Apparently, there is a Telegram group with 2,000 people who are upset that their individual rights are being impinged upon. I'm like, fuck you and your individual rights. Maybe we should lock you in a room full of COVID before you understand.
The only they're on a Telegram group. I hate to say this because obviously I'm not like a government shill, but what did they have to hide? That's the key, right? The only time in Malaysia you hear about a Telegram group is when it's somebody sharing pictures of girls and they're being absolute dicks about it.
Absolutely. This is how they all found each other. Oh, well. On the bright side, we've got a really fun show for you today because we're going to be talking about Reminiscence and Sweet Girl. One is a brand new Netflix release with Jason Momoa, and the other one is a Hugh Jackman film and the directorial debut of Lisa Joy, who you know from Westworld. But before we get into that, we finally got to see a Spider-Man trailer. Well, a proper Spider-Man trailer, because earlier in the week, they dropped a leaked fake trailer or an unfinished VFX trailer.
Was that real? Do we know if that's an official, like a marketing hype leak, or was it?
Oh no! It looked like someone had recorded.
It was a phone thing.
I only saw screenshots, but it looked like someone recorded it on a phone. Yeah,
Right.
and none of the VFX were ready or anything.
But you were going full J. Jonah Jameson on Monday. You were like, get me video of Spider-Man!
Correct. I must have it. So the trailer leaked, and then the Sony boss came out and said, we want people to see it. This is the second time I've heard that line. I can't remember what the first leak was, but it was a few years ago, and it seems like a standard line that the CEOs come out and say, we want people to see it in its true glory. None of this bullshit unfinished VFX thing. So we thought we'd drop the trailer immediately.
I thought, like, we talked about this during the week, but I definitely saw things over the weekend saying that like it should be coming in this week. Now, it usually says it should be coming this week for the previous 16 weeks, but
Yeah.
it seemed more credible this time.
Well, the only reason I thought they were holding off on it is because everyone's getting wary in the US over Delta, so the Delta variant. So they started moving things again. So Venom's been, well,
Next
I don't
year.
think it's officially moved. Has it officially moved, or there was
I
a
think it's
rumor that they
official.
were moving it to 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
so,
rumors of, what was the other one that they mentioned? Wasn't
Ghostbusters?
Spider-Man. Ghostbusters, again, I mean, the movie that will never fucking come out.
Yeah, and the concern, of course, I'm assuming was further reinforced by the fact that Reminiscence only made $2 million in its first weekend.
But I need to double check. I have to bookmark this tweet. It's just somebody saying like, "Why?" Every time they just keep retweeting the stories of like numbers are not doing so well and all this kind of stuff. Like there's a pandemic on. Like
Exactly.
none of these reports mention that. What was it? There was some other news report recently I watched where it was like, why don't you ask them? Oh, every time you see a story about a company not being able to, we can't find workers, so senior citizens in the areas have volunteered their time to work making sloppy joes. And they never ask the story, have you tried raising your wages?
Exactly.
No one ever asks that. It never seems to be in these deadline reports either that, a spokesperson from Sony said, there's a pandemic on, shrugged and left the stage.
Yeah, and not just a pandemic, but also you've given people the option to watch it at home.
Yeah.
Like a legal way to watch it at home, and they're going to be like, 100,000 cases today, or should I stay at home and watch this film? But the trailer was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, my main, and I always have these concerns with just the stupidest thing, but like in the trailer we see 4 suits, I think, 3 suits, and it just feels like one too many suits for a movie.
So what do we got? We've got the Iron Spider. We've got his kind of
normal, his everyday
His
version,
normal,
right?
his everyday one, which is his everyday one is still the Tony Stark one with the slightly digital, like the stylized
Yeah.
spider, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
And there
And
was a
then
black and gold one
And
when
then
he's like
there's a
running
black
through a
one.
cafeteria.
yeah, and I don't think that's not going to
Something.
be Venom. They've already released that toy, right?
Yes,
Correct.
they have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it just feels like that's a lot of suits for one. I mean, like, because I was talking to a friend of mine and he was talking about how he's not. He thought the was it the iron suit, the one with the spider legs.
Yeah.
Yep.
He thought that was cool in the Avengers, but now it just feels out of place in New York, and I kind of have to agree with him. It just feels like a cheat code for Spider-Man almost.
I was listening to Mark Bernardin on Kevin Smith's making Clerks 3, so he's on, it's Black Man Beyond instead of Fat Man Beyond.
Yeah.
He was talking about that trailer and he's like, this is all cool and everything, but when could we ever just have like an amazing Spider-Man movie where it's just Spider-Man doing cool shit in New York?
Doing
Well-
Spider-Man things.
Yeah.
To be
Without
fair,
having trying to save the world. Yeah.
the Andrew Garfield movies were, at least the first one was like that. And then
Yeah.
the second one, they tried to preempt the Sinister Six again. Which this trailer, it just reinforces the fact that Sony is hell-bent on trying to make a damn Sinister Six movie, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, did you
my
hear the
concern-
thing about? Did you hear the thing about them renaming the universe, the Spider-Man universe, cinematic universe? And it just
Yeah, it was
feels
in
like,
a Variety or Hollywood
think it was
Reporter
a-
piece.
yeah.
I think Sony is calling it the Sony Spider-Man universe, right? Or
Yes.
something like that.
and it just feels like the worst. And you know what? It just feels like.
Dude, that's just them doubling down, going, you know what, Marvel,
I thought this was
you
an
are
actual
never getting
name.
this
Like
back.
that's also like what they just is marketing. Did they fire all of marketing? That's just a description of what it is. Like I mean,
Yeah,
they might as well
exactly.
call it the Spider-Man collection. It's like this is the grasping. This is the grasping at Strawsiverse.
No, but like it's the problem that Uma and I are seeing in comics, right? When DC Comics is just doubling down on Batman. I think more than
Oh,
almost
every
70.
month there are about
No.
6-7 Batman titles now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so like I think there was a recent report on I can't remember where it was, but the trade orders for November 70%, 80% of them were Batman titles, and you just go, dude, just give it up, man.
But it's working. 70-80% of all orders are
You're
Batman.
right.
Yeah, there's another thread going on. I think Gail Simone and Colleen Doran were talking about people getting into comics, and people think they're people who came from money back in the day because they seem to do well, but it was basically no, they just worked at it. And there is still, I don't think it's just not tracked in Diamond. There is still a growing taste for comics, just not via the Diamond direct marketing group
Yeah.
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's a big issue with distribution, but
and this happened before. This is all of this. Every industry is Battlestar Galactica. All of this has happened before. All
Yes.
this has happened
Yeah.
again. The market imploded in the 90s when they were just doing crazy covers and foil things. The market
Yeah.
imploded when every issue was Spawn. Remember
Yeah.
Spawn 100?
Yeah.
Wow, there's like Spawn stuff was like wow. Like now it's like there's a Spawn movie and everyone's whatever, what, who?
yeah.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
but Spider-Man's great. I mean, this Spider-Man movie looks good.
No, yeah, I think
Yeah.
my only concern with the trailer is I still have PTSD from Spider-Man 3 where they tried to cram 17 movies into one. But depending on the involvement of, I guess, Kevin Feige in all of this and how well they balanced everything out in Infinity War and Endgame, because, you know, they had, 30 characters in there and everything seemed to work just fine.
Yeah.
I guess if they follow that rule of thumb, it should be okay. But from this trailer alone, we saw a Goblin Bomb, we saw Doc Ock. I know there
People were
was lightning in
saying-
the sky, and some people
Yeah.
think it's Electro, but
Was that just the
might be-
multiverse exploding?
Yeah, that's
There's
what
There's
it
also
was, right.
there was a cloud, and people were saying like it's Sandman. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe not. I don't know.
Also, there's one. So the two things I saw was there's one shot of Peter reacting to something in the dark, and people were like, "Oh, it's the reptile or the lizard."
or Venom, yeah. I think we
Venom. I'm just like,
we were all looking at the same article. I know which one
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Also-
but that looks
also-
like just the dimension holding. It's so dark. I don't know why that
Yeah.
shot's there. They just need a reaction
Yeah.
shot. But that could be
Yeah.
like a dimension hole popping up, and maybe he's zipping between different worlds. Because I don't think people have pointed out is like Doctor Strange seems awfully blasé about messing
Yeah.
with everyone in the world's
Yeah.
minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon there's definitely got to be a scene where something bad happens to Peter's family or to his extended Spider family. You know, there's something that like a stalker attacks Mary Jane or Aunt May. Something happens because of his fame, and that's when you know,
That's why he
Stephen,
wants to go. Yeah.
Stephen, as he's now known, says, well, maybe this will help out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people were talking about how it was inspired by One More Day, which is a much maligned Spider-Man story arc by J. Michael Straczynski. But actually, more accurately, it's One Moment in Time, actually, which is the comic where he goes to Strange to kind of reverse what happens in One More Day. Oh, basically, yeah, it's Quesada going, "Oh man, we really fucked up with One Moment in Time, or One More Day."
And instead of learning the lesson that sometimes you don't need to do an in-universe reboot, they decided to do another in-universe reboot.
Correct. So they retconned it again. But to be fair, if you guys have access to the digital comics, because the physical comics are quite hard to come by right now, but the digital comics, One Moment in Time, it is very well drawn and a very well thought out arc in trying to do a retcon. It's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're, you know, we bury in the lead. It's like, hello, Peter, come on. Like,
you know, I think they would have tried to keep that more of a secret. I think it was because Molina fucked up in an
did he?
interview. Yeah,
Wow.
so apparently I was seeing another interview, I think, with Molina, and he was talking about how Feige was upset with him. So I think he fucked up in an interview and said he was coming back, and that's why in every interview we've seen since with like Andrew Garfield, he's just been like, I have no idea what's going on. No, you know what? If someone had approached
as a
me,
red dot
I
from
would
a
tell
Marvel
you.
sniper kind of crawls up his head.
Yeah, but no.
But it is. I mean, it was cool to see the grenade, the pumpkin grenades, but to see the arms first before you see the horribly disfigured Doctor Octopus. Something he's been through a CGI blender or something.
He
looked
old,
weird.
Man.
No, I know, but they didn't let him be old. Like, he
Yeah,
looks really weird.
They tried to young him up, and that just looked weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the picture you've got going there, it's not a great picture.
That's the picture from the trailer. That's the only picture there is. This is it.
No,
It's like,
I'm just saying, it's. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that it's not a great picture.
no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I hope it's going to be Peter hopping through multiverses, and like you'll see different bits and pieces. Like, you know.
Multiverses.
Yeah, like he'll wake up in bed and he's beside Kirsten Dunst, and she'll say, "Hey, Tiger," and he'll go, "What the fuck?"
I mean, it's got to be something like that. I mean, like, with Doc Ock going, "Hello, Peter," and it's a different guy from Tobey Maguire. There must be some way they explain that as well. Because Molina only knows Tobey.
Unless he does unless it's oh crap, what's that movie? The jumping in through time, going to other people's body thing.
I don't know.
Quantum Leap.
So like he goes and to everybody else he looks like Toby or Andrew Garfield. You know what I mean? But we just see him as Tom Holland. I don't know. I don't know. so that's the question, right? Will there be two Spider-Mans where he lands, or will there just be the one?
You mean Spider-Man?
Huh?
No.
You can't sing that song.
I don't know actually, but what I'm curious about is the timeline, right? So because obviously Strange doesn't cause the multiverse with this spell, Loki does. So does it happen simultaneously with Loki, where when that happens, Strange is casting the spell and it's like a coincidence? Unfortunate timing, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
There was a disturbance in the force.
But I think maybe it's that like no one on their own could have messed up the timeline, the timestamps, the timeline. So maybe it's, it's Loki at the same time. It's Loki at the same time as Wanda, at the same time as Strange, and then they all together. And that's why it's going to take all of them together to fix this mistake, right? They can't. No one of them on their own can do it.
New Avengers assemble.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so Spider-Man, you've probably seen the trailer because apparently it's broken all records on YouTube for day one viewing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home should arrive in December if cinemas are open here and if things don't get worse in America.
The question is which December?
On which Earth?
Yeah.
On which Earth?
Earth 617.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's so depressing.
I also should say hello to Daphne and thank you. Yes, I fixed my microphone. So you two were awesome for the last 15 minutes, but I'll edit my audio in harder afterwards.
Oh, really?
You sounded fine to me.
No, it sounded fine to you guys. Just, the internet as a whole couldn't hear me. I hadn't flicked a toggle.
Okay. So the other big piece of news for fans of anime is that we finally got a proper first look at Cowboy Bebop. Netflix released some photos, and I mean, it's some really high quality cosplay, to be fair.
Yeah, that's literally when we got because we get the email and there was like 1 or 2 photos. I saw them go up online. I was looking at it, going like, "This is awesome." John Cho just looks exactly like Spike Spiegel. And then it was like a beat, and then it was like, this does look a little bit like cosplay. And I said this on Twitter, and someone I know from Singapore who is big into cosplay was like, "What do you mean?" Looks like cosplay.
No.
It does. It looks like cosplay because it's good, motherfucker. So yeah.
No, but I think
I didn't mean to disparage it that way.
Yeah, I get what you guys mean. I mean, it feels like John Cho dressing up as Spike for a Comic-Con. You know, it doesn't feel natural on him for some reason. He looks good in it, but
you saw the photo. He looks pretty good with his top off. You see that photo where he's like, is he fighting or he's training or he's got a gun or something?
Yeah,
it's cool.
I was just gonna say, I sent that photo to a mutual friend of the show and geek in Malaysia, Amelia Chen, and she was just like, "Bless you." She hasn't seen it before, and she was like, "This is incredible. Bless you." But I'm curious as to what they do with the show, because they've released these photos, but there's one major character missing. I know, Bahir, you haven't seen it, but there's a major character called Ed, who is part of the Bebop crew, and she is nowhere to be seen.
But Iain is, and she
Iain is, yes.
She and Iain at the same time? I can't remember, or she's before Iain.
I thought she comes with the dog.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it, but I will be watching it again soon.
Yeah, because there are some really iconic moments in these photos. So there's a moment in the church, which is a very iconic moment from the 5th episode of Cowboy Bebop, where there's a massive showdown in this church with Spike and his arch nemesis Vicious and all that stuff, and it's like a John Woo moment, right? It's really beautifully done. So they're showing that in the photo, but Ed's already with them at that point. So I don't know if they're hiding it for a reason. Also, there's been no casting news about who Ed is or who's going to play Ed. So that's interesting, something interesting to watch. Also, I hope they stick with what Iain is, because Iain is this AI super dog.
Yeah, he's not AI. He's just genetically
and stuff.
He's just genetically modified, right? I think,
yeah.
And they don't know, like they just think he's a dog, and they pick up like right. There's things that happen in these, like, or the main characters don't tell each other what adventure they've been on, so they might have run into the same guy 3 times and not known it. Like they wouldn't know.
Right.
They will never piece it together because they're all kind of assholes.
Yeah.
And I'm
They're
wondering,
just very uncommunicative.
Yeah, and the outfits are so close, especially like the Jet as well. Daniel Pineda, Mustafa Shakir's Jet. Like the metal arm looks pretty good. I am just wondering, are they being like overly faithful to it? You know, like I had hoped it would capture the spirit. Like this makes me think that we might actually just get the opening music with the same style credits, and I would rather it not ape the anime exactly and try and do its own thing, because it's very rare that works. Right? If you do it exactly.
It is, and there's enough examples of that, because God knows every manga and anime gets adapted in like 7 different ways in Japan, right?
Yeah.
So there will be a live action version, comic, and animation version. Yeah. And
have you guys ever seen Yatta? Have you heard of Yattaman?
No, I haven't seen Yattaman.
There's a Cutie Honey live action animation as well, which has elements of like the Speed Racer thing where she'll kick and it'll do the anime lines.
Yeah.
Yattaman is just absolute batshit. Like they have a dog spaceship or a dog car or something like that, and so they go full on speedline anime when they're doing stuff. But they literally, like, if you look at the live action photos and you look at the show, they look the same. You know what I mean? And as a result, it's not going to go beyond what it is, which maybe will suit Netflix. Maybe what you want to do, you know, they'll do the first one series of anime over 3 series on Netflix and then cancel it, because as is their want, right?
Well, I mean, it depends what they want to do with this property, right? Because obviously the original Cowboy Bebop series has a beginning, middle, and a very definite end. There was a movie that was a kind of a prequel movie, or it took place in between some episodes, and that's it. Like, it was a very complete story. It didn't have multiple seasons or anything. So if Netflix want to kind of extend it beyond 1 season, then they'll have to make it its own thing, right?
Yeah.
And also, we've said this many times before, our favorite adaptations are the ones that kind of stay true in spirit and then kind of
Springboard.
run off and do their own thing. I have to say, this is something that I feel we must assign to Bahir. I believe Bahir has had my Cowboy Bebop DVDs for about 3 years now.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Here,
I
let's
do.
put your mind at ease. This is not a Neon Genesis Evangelion situation, okay?
Right?
No,
and
no,
I
hang
told
on,
him
hang on,
that.
hang on.
And I
Hang on,
also
hang
said
on.
there's very little of the big eyes,
Hang
kind
on.
of stuff which he doesn't like.
Hang on. The reason I took the box set, Uma, is because you told me there's a lot of jazz in it, and I'm like, ooh, I like jazz.
There is.
Yeah.
There is a lot of jazz. You're right. I like listening to the soundtrack. The show didn't get it from me.
3 years.
Oh,
Come on.
Okay. I will watch it. I will finish the show on camera.
There's
There we go.
like 12 episodes. 20. It's 26.
that's it.
26 episodes. 12 episodes.
No,
Oh,
I think it's
shit. 26
I think it's like
episodes.
is it 26 or 16? I
don't
can't
know.
remember now.
It's
been a
short.
while.
It's
20 minutes. Come on. Come on.
Fine. When is this show out?
November.
November. It's
I
sooner
got
than
time.
I was
Okay,
expecting.
cool. Okay, cool. Okay. I can do that.
All right. There we go. And then I can get my DVDs back.
And you can have them back. I just keep forgetting to give it back to you.
Why is the show not on Netflix now? I mean, they should have some lead time, but
Because the show is on Prime in the United States. So I don't know how they're gonna work that out. Because
if it's on Prime,
think
they're
Amazon
not.
has the
They're
rights.
not. No, they're just not. Like, I mean, you've seen what happened again. Bring it back to Evangelion, but like Netflix has that for quite some time. Prime gets the movies. Prime doesn't have an easy way to find those movies. If you search for Evangelion, they're like scattered around the results. It's not like they have it like here's that that kind of thing that's
here's that Evangelion box set for you, right?
Yeah, that thing that's kind of huge in Japan, the thing that is an absolute pop culture juggernaut. Yeah, you have to kind of search it and you'll get them out of order. So, and because their numbering is so wacky anyway, like someone's going to watch 3.0 plus 1.0 because they can't see the plus 1.0 before they watch 3.33, which is actually the third movie, not the fourth movie. So, thanks, Amazon
Bahir's
Prime.
thinking, this is why I don't do anime.
Yeah. I was just like, that's really not accessible to people like me.
Excessive.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
that's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay.
We're excited about it. And, we've been chomping at the bit for some information about Cowboy Bebop anyway. So at least we got these photos to tide us over until November 19th, I believe. Yeah. All right. So let's talk movies, people. I'm going to kick things off with Reminiscence, which is the brand new film from Lisa Joy. Lisa Joy is the co-creator of Westworld, along with Jonathan Nolan, who is obviously the brother of Christopher Nolan. And this movie, it stars Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, Thandiwe Newton. And this movie, I think we can safely say, belongs in what is becoming a Nolan cinematic universe, right? Like all the brothers and sister-in-law seem to have the same preoccupations with science fiction, memory, belief, time, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're telling these stories in different ways. And we really enjoyed the trailer for this. But I have to say, I went in with some apprehension because I saw these headlines. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I kind of liked it. I went in. Okay, there's a caveat, right? This really feels like. I was going to say this really feels like the work of a first-time director, but what I mean by that is, it's incredibly well made. It's beautiful to look at, but it feels like someone with all of these cool ideas and preoccupations, and I can see where she's like cribbed some of these concepts, all unfortunately from movies who have done it better, like Vertigo and Minority Report and Blade Runner. But at the same time, when the movie ended, I was kind of satisfied. I don't know if I was just, tell me if you guys feel the same way, because I don't know if I was fooled by the fact that Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson are just fucking charming and good.
For me, it's got a great ending.
Yeah.
The ending, the way the movie ends, it's satisfying. It fills the story. It ties it up nicely. A part of me wonders if because of that really good ending, it sort of papers over the rest of the film. Because at the end of the movie, I texted Yuma and I was like, I really enjoyed that. But then as I sit down to think about it, I remember the middle parts being a little waffly, a little soft around the edges, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think
Like there was a lot going on.
Yeah. And
a lot going on. It just didn't feel like it's ever settled. It feels like Miami, everything's sort of just treading water to get to that next point.
Ooh, nice.
Hey.
Hey!
Which we should say, because no one else knows what we're talking about here.
No,
seen
no,
the movie.
knows. I'm sorry, I
The
apologize.
film, no, not you. I mean, Uma didn't set it up, but it is a movie about a man who has a machine called Reminiscence, which allows other people to watch your memories. They don't really go into what happens when they kind of go into what the ending is kind of dependent on what you're experiencing while you're in the tank, but they never really go over that earlier on. There's a couple of things like that I think that speak to what you're talking about, Uma, and most people seem to use it like the Inception machine from Inception. These guys have it. They just have it, so the movie happens. Why do they have it? Why don't the government hunting them down with this incredibly dangerous technology? Oh, it's fine. There are commercial versions known as pods that they never explain, which is another thing that adds to that feeling.
Yeah.
And he just people go to him, they relive a memory and for some reason Hugh Jackman and Thandie Newton watch on the widest widescreen TV you can ever imagine. That's
a great widescreen TV.
And again, there's a reason for that, and it's purely plot related, and it's purely at the end. But someone walks into his life, she needs to find her keys, and he helps her, and then it snowballs from there. Like you said, have you seen the Japanese poster? Like the normal poster is kind of reds and purples, and it looks a bit like a Drew Struzan joint, but not. I don't think it's done by Drew Struzan. But the Japanese one's blue, and it looks like the Blade Runner kind of big Harrison Ford rain-faced one.
Right out there, yeah.
Really? Oh, I didn't see. Oh, okay.
And as I'm watching this, you can't help but feel this because there is a completely aiming for profound but sounding up pretentious voiceover, and I'm like, oh, are they trying? Like, are they intentionally trying to do what's widely regarded as one of the worst voiceovers in history? Because Harrison Ford did not want to be there.
Right, and that was what I was thinking, because as the voiceover was playing, I'm like, wait, did someone from the studio go, no one's going to understand this without a voiceover, so add in a voiceover, and did Hugh Jackman just go, I'm going to fuck about with this, because I don't want a voiceover, right?
Because there is a reveal where what he's talking about makes sense, right?
Yeah.
There's the tape recorder, and you can see the headers, and it ties in, and that's what, it's again, every episode, it's like George Lucas said, it's like poetry, it rhymes, it just goes round and round and round. But it's bad poetry. The first time you hear it, it's like, ugh, what is this? And I was already mad at the water wall. Like they did follow up with we live in the spill zone next to the flood wall, so that's why we're here, as opposed to we're cutting from a CGI landscape to streets with some water on it, and that's why there's a difference. I thought that actually, shouldn't there be a bigger wall between the ocean and your office, and your ground is you're under the water level. Yeah,
just like a little wind will sort of flood everything. Just New Orleans again. Yeah, hang on. No, and I think sort of like it and to just sort of tie in what the both of you have just said is that the it feels like a first time director. Because it feels like bad poetry. It feels like an amateur writing poetry, right? It's got all the bits there, but it ties in a little too easily, I think, almost.
Well, I mean, you say that, but
I wouldn't say amateur. I wouldn't say amateur. I wouldn't say that's the thing. I think like the movie, we'll have to get to that section. But I think it's not that it's amateur because
she's not.
You're putting yourself on her bad list now on the internet. But it's clunky. There's they tell Rebecca Ferguson that the machine, look, it goes we never go above 30 volts. She doesn't ask. There's no need to the only reason that
piece
is
of
there
exposition is unnecessary.
It's for us later. The scenes of them being lovey-dovey in the middle are overly long and not really that interesting. The whole beginning of the movie is just the pacing is dead.
Yeah.
Most of that, there's a reveal the first reveal is not first reveal of many. This is not a twist movie, but there's something happens after about 26 minutes when you realize what's going on. Let's just say it's a time jump, right?
Yeah.
That everything around that could have been handled more twisty turny. They're not trying to make Memento, but they could have done something that might have gotten a little bit there quicker even.
Yeah, and I think that's a function of the marketing of the movie as well, right? Because I think I went into the film expecting something completely different. Because based on the trailer,
it's The Greatest Showman 2! Rebecca Ferguson and Hugh Jackman are back!
If only. But
she sings!
She
the
does.
greatest singer in the world. But watching the trailer, I was expecting something more Tenet-like or Inception-like, just based on the mood that the trailer set. And so the film is incredibly straightforward in that way. And it plays out, I don't know what you call it, because it's like a gothic horror romance, but only sci-fi without the horror.
I think that I saw something about it as like it's a future noir, I think is what they're looking
Yeah,
at.
I was going to lean more towards noir. Yeah,
Because it has, I mean,
But there is that gothic romance element, right? Of the fatal love.
yeah, but she's that of all the memory joints in all the world, the dame in the red dress walked into my she dressed only this whole thing from a thrift store, and like she only dresses exclusively in evening wear.
Every slinky dress that Rebecca Ferguson has is chef's kiss. Like,
Yeah, but like
that
it's
wardrobe is just stunning.
but that works if it's 1940. Like there's a weird, like he's always wearing a tie, even though he's a shabby. You know, he's basically he's a video repairman, right? At a certain level.
It's weird that he would, the first time he walks into the office, he takes off his jacket to put on a jacket and put on a tie that he doesn't put up.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even have the wherewithal to look formal. He just has to wear a tie because now he's inside. I don't know. I nitpicking, completely nitpicking.
It is, but the problem was that it hadn't. Like we're nitpicking again, and before anyone talk, this is going to. We're going to say this every time now because you know things get under my skin sometimes. When we nitpick like this, it's because I'm looking around, I'm looking at my phone. Like it's not grabbing me. It's like okay.
Yes.
You know, she is literally a femme fatale wanders into his office. He does get engaged in certain ways. There is reveals that go on. It's just that last half. There's an action scene in this that when it happens is awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like it's really, really good action, but it doesn't feel like it's part of the same movie because everything before that is like not that. It feels almost more like a detective who's constantly getting beaten up. Like they kind of play. He does feel like Hugh Jackman's character. What's his name?
Nick Bannister.
Okay, just checking to see if you remembered it because
I
it's not.
have no idea. Yeah.
His combat background comes to play is forgotten, is not useful most of the time until it is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like he's shown in this action scene handling himself, but he's never handled himself well before that.
Yeah.
Because it's a machination of the plot. It's like they mentioned as well, like they start talking about like, okay, reset. When they reset the memory thing, it's like you've never explained what this is doing. You've never explained how this is happening. Like you say reset, but I think before Nick even gets to say the prompt to bring the memory online, because when he has to talk, he used to use his P.T. Barnum tones.
Sexy memory voice.
He uses his ASMR voice.
Yeah, exactly. He has to use his ASMR voice to coax the memory out of you. And like, I think the memory starts playing before he's even said anything. When they're doing the reset, they're not explaining what the reset is. There's some things are foreshadowed, some things aren't. You know, they never ever go into his awesome Millhouse waiters. You know, because everyone in the future wears wellies because everywhere's flooded.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a genius world building like that. And to come back to the voiceover, there's a genius world building where why are they always he walks into the office at night and he says morning or whatever like that, or he says to Rebecca Ferguson, it's the sun's going down, you start your day and you have your keys or whatever like that to kickstart her memory to find her keys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then later on, the dumbass voiceover is like, it's sundown when everyone starts their day because the sun's too hot during the day because it's too hot because of global warming because that's where the water came from. Did you get it, you dummy? You know, and it's...
Yeah. No, I mean,
that was
here's
weird.
the thing, though. I guess these nitpicks only came to me after the film, though. During the film, as I was watching the film, I was suitably caught up in it that I wasn't distracted while I was watching the film. And I enjoyed the world building a lot. I mean...
Yeah. I think the noir style hurt that a little bit as well because it's going for like Smoky Jazz Club, but it ends up looking brown.
Yeah, but yes, because I think the noir style kind of conflicted with the post-apocalyptic sci-fi future.
Yeah.
And in this case, I mean, sometimes it works, Blade Runner, but sometimes there was a bit of a conflict. However, that said, as I was watching the film, I kept thinking, I want to explore more of this world.
Yeah.
Because there were enough hints in it. I want a comic book series. I want a TV show, something. Yeah. Because I wanted to go deeper into, you know, where the Left Behinds were. Yeah. In those old factories which were flooded. I mean, all of that was super cool.
Or what are the
and
pods?
Really appealed to the sci-fi geek, right?
They talk about the pods as like we're doing this like bargain basement, you know, held together with spit and glue version of memories.
Because we're doing it for the people. Yeah.
No, we're not. We're doing it for money. We're doing it for our mate who
Yeah,
happens to be
but-
people. There's an element of that, but like,
Yeah,
what the pods are like never said like when they go see it, the person who's there later at the nearly the end of the movie, it feels like they're putting someone in there forever. Is it like
Yes,
a cryo
I feel like
chamber?
it.
Is it like we're putting someone in there in
Is
a
it
nice
like a
memory?
prison?
Yeah, they're putting someone in a nice memory until their end of days or until medical technology comes up with a way to fix them. They're never, or is it just like he's going away for 6 months? He's going on a memory cruise. Like, is that what it is? They don't explain that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily, the world will be explored in the next 2 seasons of Westworld whenever they arrive, sometime in
just gonna
2035.
I was just gonna say, but so I watched it twice.
Oh,
Wow.
No, and the reason really, there's a reason.
Yeah,
for
and I
it.
are both just surprised.
No, because
Oh.
I mean, but here I think
Twice.
we need to divvy up some of the tasks in Asana. Someone's
Yeah.
obviously not got enough work to do.
I watched it twice because I was just like, first of all, I watched it once and I was like, wait, I don't want to be that guy back in the 1980s who thought Blade Runner was a complete waste of time, only to be proven wrong later. And then I watched it again
The
because
big difference is though you're not ingesting your body weight in cocaine every day, so that's probably
That's
why.
That's true. Or so you think.
It's been a hell of a It's been a hell of a lockdown.
It's been a hard 18 months. No. But then I was skimming through it again because I was like, wait, I enjoyed this. Am I stupid? So I was watching it again. And I was like, no, I really like a lot of these set pieces. And sure, there's a lots of stuff. Like, I mean, some of the Vertigo homage is so fucking blatant. When he visits this rich old lady, that is a Blade Runner police station. Like, it's just there. The camera angle, her little recreation of the candy store or shoe store or whatever. I was just like, it's Blade Runner.
It's the LA train station.
Yeah, I mean, putting people, it's like precogs in water, the whole memory machine. I mean, it's all there. But like I said, I don't know if I was duped by the A-listers in the film giving it their best, or just the fact that I'm a sucker for noir movies. I enjoyed it as I was watching it.
Yeah, same.
I think I came around at the end. But I only came around at the end. It was when they played the cigarettes after sex song.
Yes.
That song, I was like, that's the song she sings in the memory.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. I don't know why I know that song. I don't know whatever, but it was like in the Spider-Man trailer when Doctor Strange knocked Peter's soul out of Spider-Man's body. Like I was brought back to I was brought back to something. I don't know what I was brought back to, but that song is just it's perfect in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just disappointed that everything before it didn't seem to nail that perfectness, and the same with afterwards. And also, sorry, but at the end, like the loop element of it, was his hair better the second time around?
Reshoots.
No.
I was like, the end. I was watching it, going like, is that? It looks more quick. Also, I mean, I kind of like the fact that this movie, he slowly becomes Logan.
A little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you notice the less he
When you see him at the end.
he starts not that bit, but even before that he's not shaving as much and he's got that Logan look.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. I think for me it's just to sort of go back to something that Ian said, that it's the ending feels like it sort of the ending is so good that you almost forgive everything else because everything else prior to that feels just shy of being hit on the head. It's just shy of being amazing. I honestly didn't mind the voiceover because it feels like it's the detective noir trope, right? It's like Ian said, of all the gin joints, right? And I quite enjoyed that play on the trope and the explanation of the trope at the end. I didn't mind. I love the world, but like Ian said, it just falls short of being perfectly hit on the head. But the perfect ending sort of solved everything.
It helped. Yeah, it didn't wash away for me, but because I was left thinking, why remake Strange Days without Lenny? Because it does.
Get that reference.
It does feel like it is doing. It
I
feels
missed
like
the Strange Days, yeah.
It's doing Strange Days, but it hasn't learned any of the lessons from Strange Days. You haven't seen Strange Days, the Catherine Bigelow movie?
Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes.
No, who else?
Angela Bassett is in it as well, but like
Yes.
they sell like the little small, they're like mini disc players, and you can replay someone else's memories. And someone's going around killing people by making them replay memories, and then they reenact them and go for a dive off a building or something like that, or they watch someone dying. It's a little bit like It's not Brain Scan. Is it Brain Scan with Christopher Walken? I can never remember.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up.
But it was set on the eve of the millennium in LA, and race riots break out and everything else, and Ray Fiennes is, I think, an ex-cop and stuff like that. And it has, like, Angela Bassett is the hard-as-nails black woman who keeps his ass safe, you know what I mean? I was screaming. Yeah. I was screaming at the television during that scene where she saves his ass, where I'm like, just shoot the fucking tank already. We know you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it.
And okay, you brought that up, right? Is it just me, or did that feel like a completely different movie?
Yeah,
because suddenly the camera work feels different. Suddenly the pacing feels weird.
I do wonder if there was production problems, or if they forced things on her a little bit. Because like you said, the voiceover, but some of those lines, like the past can haunt a man, like it's too.
It's very cringy.
Time is no longer a one-way stream. Memory is the boat that sails against its current, and I'm the oarsman. I would get a fail mark if I handed that shit in an exam in school, right?
I'll be honest, I love that line only because of how cheesy it is. You know, and like you said just now, Umar, it feels like Hugh Jackman just went, fuck it, I'm gonna cheese this shit up, and I like that. I love that. It just felt suitably cheesy for me.
I mean, all of Lisa Joy's skills are apparent. Like, she has great ideas, and like you said, it's like 90% execution.
Yeah,
almost great, right?
Yeah.
With regards to execution, and I think, this made me excited to see what she does next.
Yeah. And again,
aside from Westworld, right?
like from George Lucas again, just do it faster and more intense.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if she streamlines some of those thoughts, I mean, like you said, Ian, like, it was either the case of the studio forcing things on her or giving her complete free rein.
And she was worried that maybe people won't follow me where they're following me.
Oh, no, not just that, but even with the free rein, it's just like, oh, I have this great idea for an action scene, and you've got to have this thing
but those work,
with social commentary and race riots.
But I think all of that works very well. The race riots stuff wasn't replayed in, but when you have, like, we're going to show you 2 examples of the machine working in the first 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, you need to introduce one character. It's because we're introducing one character so you can show him later. You're introducing the other character because that's the plot character, but like. And also, the reason for the big fucking television is purely for that moment at the end, which is like, okay, that's a great moment, but
I gotta see,
you don't, like, even if it's against, like, if the portable version up against the projector would have worked as well. Like, I think that's probably been done in a movie where someone is emoting to a screen, right? Soderbergh's done it somewhere. He's got to, right?
The holo projector thing that they use, it's real. Like, so that was not a special effect.
Well, it's apparently just it's fiber optics with
right?
but it's fiber optics with like a film projected on it. And when Hugh Jackman walks
around
that's
why they wanted to use it.
When Hugh Jackman walks around it, they either have overlapping projectors or the projector moves with him and it's projecting the same scene and it's 3D mapped.
Yeah.
And I mean,
no. Apparently, it was an actual holo projector, because at the press conference they were talking about how they were all blown away by this technology.
Yeah,
so
but
it wasn't something projected on it. It was like the Tupac thing, I guess.
Yeah, but
bring him back.
But the Tupac thing is literally they're projecting him up onto a cloud or smoke or something like that. So
of smoke.
There is no way. There's currently no way to stop light. Otherwise, we would all have lightsabers. But that office is too big. It's too close to the water. Move it up a floor. That's asking too many questions. Speaking of questions, we do have a comment from Daphne Miranda on YouTube. She says they should have given more details about the world and how it ended up that way, rather than the romance.
Oh,
I see.
Interesting. Oh,
the romance element was the thing that kind of made the film work. Yeah, it kept me going just because
you really like Rebecca Ferguson.
Well, yes, but also
and her thrift store dresses.
Because it was a callback to the noir films I used to love watching when I was younger, right? And there was always that femme fatale, and these were very clearly drawn from all of those movies. But I think without the romance element, I think it would have been too dry sci-fi. Yeah.
I mean, there had to have been a point, right?
Yeah, but it just, I guess the romance just makes him come off a little bit of a putz, right? I mean, it's the Vertigo
he
thing.
He becomes
again.
a bit of a badass at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, he's always a badass.
Merciless badass. Yeah.
Maybe this is just propaganda, but Lisa Joy got paid so much money because he's basically he's a CBP agent. They made us empathize with a CBP agent.
Yeah, exactly.
The Border Patrol guys. So like, what? Yeah.
But
but the world is interesting. I want to see more of it.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about it, I need to go and I haven't read any of the reviews yet, so I want to find out what people didn't like about it, whether it was the nitpicks or whether there was something more, because I think it was hovering at like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. So I'm curious as to why people disliked it with such a passion.
And audience wise, I mean, this is probably be a perfect November, October, like, you know, normal cinema movie, but like end of the summer during a pandemic, people are going to go to cinema for roller coasters only.
Correct. It's it's too grown up, it's too talky, it's just 2 million sounds about right.
But also, I, as much as I enjoyed that, and I think I would have loved it in the cinema, I would not go to the cinema to watch this with the
during
kind of numbers
pandemic.
we have. Yeah, you know, it's not worth it. You know, and I think like Ian said, you want to go to the cinema to escape the hellhole that we live in, and that means Fast 9. That means maybe James Bond. That means, you know, it's definitely not going to go for this. Yeah.
At 23,000 cases a day, it's only Bond that's going to get me out there.
That.
We're bringing Contagion back.
I don't even know if Bond is something I want to do again. You know, it's just like,
That's, again, I guess we were foreshadowing earlier. That was the other one I was thinking of, because they were like, Bond's launching in September? No, October.
They've stuck to October, and they seem to be sticking through.
I think I saw something which is like, Venom's moving. We're maybe about Bond.
Yeah,
because we've seen that we've mentioned the article before about they have to make a ridiculous amount of money to cover the interest payments.
It really depends how much Bezos throws at them, right?
Hasn't Bezos already
MGM now? Yeah, but I think part of the deal was that the latest Bond has to be a cinema release. So we'll see.
That's really it for one day.
But if you've seen Reminiscence, we want to know what you think. Are you with the vast majority of US critics who seem to not like this movie at all? Or are you like us who are so-so about it, enjoyed it while we were watching it, but have some reservations? Let us know what you think. You know how. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can just drop us a comment right here. If not, you can get in touch via our social medias. That's Goggler MY. You can also email us, podcast@goggler.my, or you can text us, WhatsApp us on our Goggler hotline, 012-524-5208, which brings us to our next movie, Sweet Girl.
So just have a programming note. We will stay away from Sweet Girl spoilers until you see this picture. I haven't got a tone yet. I'll get a tone maybe next. Ding! You hear this tone?
I'll get your tone.
I just need a tone of Jason Momoa going.
Are you just gonna? Should we just put that up until after I tell people what this movie is about? Because I don't know how you talk about this movie without spoilers. Like,
we could. You do it. We know how to do
it. You can do it.
We could do it.
I think it's difficult to review how garbage, shit, fire, bollocks this film is.
I have points.
Like, this movie made me so angry. Anyway, let me tell people what it's about. Jason Momoa, new revenge thriller, because Netflix has a whole fucking cottage industry of these right now. They seem to be releasing one every week. This one is directed by Brian Mendoza, and it's essentially about...
Did you look at his other credits?
No, I didn't bother. Why?
He is production manager, known for Frontier 2006, Jason Momoa movie. Road to Paloma, that rings a bell in this movie, right? 2014, also a Jason Momoa movie. And Braven, 2018, also a Jason Momoa movie. I think is he just like Jason Momoa's mate? I think he's been producing his movies and now he's like, can I have a go? I'd like to direct a movie, please.
Give me one.
I think so. So Jason Momoa plays a distraught husband and father who loses his wife to cancer. And he and his little girl, Rachel, sweet girl, Rachel, blame a pharmaceutical company that pulls a potentially life-saving drug off the market because of money.
Because it's competitor to their highly expensive version.
Correct. There's a generic version that's about to come out, and Big Pharma is the big bad in this movie. Jason Momoa in what has to be one of the stupidest fucking moments in this film, vows revenge on national TV, where he threatens to kill the CEO of a major corporation to absolutely no consequence whatsoever.
I have that one on my bingo card. Do you have that one, Bahir?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, got that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point, this is like 15 minutes into the film.
Wait, no.
Already...
Sorry. First of all, starts in media res with like the annoying in media res with Jason Momoa jumping off the roof of the Pittsburgh
Stadium.
Yeah. It's a water a jump that you can never make, and then it's like many years earlier.
Yeah.
Many years.
No,
like,
and this is the best part. It's many years earlier, but then it gets really specific 6 months later.
And then
24 months
24 months later. And it's like, what?
We can do the math.
but someone needs to tell these fucking screenwriters, if you're opening something in medias res, you need to make those moments fucking count. Like,
or you don't tell us it's in medias res.
10 minutes.
You need to figure it out. Or what's you call it? Out of sight. The
Yes.
credits. George Clooney comes out of the shot, comes out of a thing, takes his tie off and throws it, and you're like, boom! David Holmes kicks in. That's an awesome start.
But
you don't find out later.
Has talent.
Yeah, but you don't find out till later. That's not just the credit sequence. That's an event that happened in the movie. That actually had plot relevance.
But even if you tell people that it was a moment in the future, right? You've got to hook them in those few minutes. Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
Right? Why is Owen Davian? What? Who did he shoot? Oh my God! Did he kill his wife? What is going on? And then you get the story, right? Fight Club, fucking yeah. So many movies do it well. This one does not. This one just shows him on the roof. He jumps off, and then you're like, I don't give a shit why he jumped off.
Yeah. It's what you said in your review, Uma. That there's the only reason that's there is so that we can see Jason Momoa do a thing.
Yeah.
Because he's Jason Momoa.
But he's just Jason Momoa doing a thing.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to... Even when it comes around to it later, there's a... It's like, still doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't even
He doesn't land it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, although he does land it in the water, but it doesn't build tension. It's like you're like, yeah, Aquaman can easily make that jump. He's gonna land in the water, not a problem.
No, but it's one of those. It's like it's not like Jason Bourne when he jumps out of the window at the end. You don't know if he survives or if he lives or if he dies making that jump. Here, he's gonna survive because it's the first 3 minutes of the movie.
We've had this conversation before where there was some TV show several times. It was, but TV shows got it the worst because it was the US format where you have your pre-ad sequence, right? And then it's ad/credits. It's like 3 days. It ends with 3 days earlier, and you're like, get fucked. I don't want it. No.
No, but isn't there?
It's like, oh my God, John's dead, and Ross is an alien, and everything's fire. Well, 3 days earlier, and you're like, no.
No, but wasn't there also a show that was their format, that every time it started, it would start in media res, and that was just, what the actual fuck?
I can't remember that one.
Sounds
like a great idea.
I think, wow. I think,
you heard it here first, Bahir, copyright.
To bring it kind of reverse back to the Evangelion movies, each movie ends with like a next time sting on, which the original series had, and which mostly was like talking about there's going to be lots of fan service, because anime shows like fan service, which is lots of TNA shots. They never had the proper TNA shots, but also in the movies, those clips don't turn up in the next movie.
Right.
That's the only way you can do in media. That's the only way you can do in media res now. One, do not give me a title card unless it's in really big text, like the Russo font. And two, make it mean something.
Yeah,
it's gotta mean something. And okay, so I was pissed off after the first 2 minutes, and I'm watching it, and okay, I'll let that slide. Maybe this thing gets better. And honestly, for a moment, I thought, okay, are they going to do a deep dive into big pharma, corruption, that sort of stuff? So just to add a layer of some kind of something sympathetic to this revenge thriller, right?
No, they're going to add a hitman in a combi.
It is a gimmick. It is a gimmick employed purely to kill his wife. That's it.
Yeah. Just to set him off, and it's.
He should have been.
Just ripped him off from No Country for Old Men. It's the same character.
He should have been. No, it's not. Don't you dare do anything bad. That was like.
I mean, it's honestly, it's a weak image of that character.
You
could see where they pulled it.
This
from.
is the paint by numbers plotting. It's like we need to show this guy's a bad guy. Why? We're going to have him kill someone and steal a combi van. Why a combi van? There's literally. It's ancient. It's prone to breaking down. If he's going, he obviously has money. Okay, maybe he doesn't want to have a money trail, but still, you got to think he's getting paid in unmarked bills. He's a hitman. It's not like he's not using his mama's checkbook to rent cars.
I logicked that one out for you.
No. There's no. It's screenwriter's logic. We have to show that he's a badass, so he has to kill someone and then take the van.
No, but it's so that for me, my question was, why take the fucking van? Because after he's killed someone, he then goes to a Mercedes to do something and then gets the van.
Oh, that's his own car. That's his own. He leaves his car there. So it's, I presume so. He swaps it. He swaps the for sale sign with his car because that's smart, right? That's smart. No, they have your fucking car, the car that has your name tied to it.
And maybe
the movie's full. Again, I think it's full of moments like this that are maybe in similar ways to what we think might be going on with Reminiscence. It sounds like they very much are going on in this movie, where someone had a script that was full of little kind of die-hardy ideas like this, like, oh my god, he has the foot cramps to de-stress. He crunches his feet to de-stress. He has his shoes off, so therefore the rest of the movie, glass is a problem for him, and he has to get shoes, and it's a cool thing to have throughout the movie.
Yeah,
they're hiding out in a hotel. They put sleigh bells on the door so that if anyone comes through, they can hear the sleigh bells. That's fucking pointless because you're in a room with one entrance.
Correct.
You didn't ask for a ground floor room. You didn't ask for like adjoining room so you could pop between it. None of that is there. It's just like sleigh bells on one half of a double door. That's a location problem that we're like, but if he just opens the other door, he won't hear him. It's like, but when I wrote it, I thought we were going to use the Ramada Inn, and that only has single doors. It doesn't have this double door bullshit. We couldn't shoot there, so we have to shoot here. Can you get another sleigh bell? I don't have another sleigh bell. I only have one thing of sleigh bells. You only told me to buy one thing of sleigh bells. What are we supposed to do? Just shoot it. No one will notice. There's a moment.
Nobody noticed.
There's a moment right after that where these hitmen, these other guys who look like they're on their way to invade the capital on January 6th. They're just stopping off. It's not clear whether they're hitmen or what or why they know where the people are. He just goes into a room that is open. He's like, open door. You know what I mean? There's no.
This must be it. Yeah.
It's not like it's not like they went downstairs. Any other movie, they would have killed the receptionist and looked at who's in what room. Any other movie, right?
Yeah.
He goes up. Why does he go into the room the maid is in? Maybe he's looking for the key. Maybe you could have a moment of that and picking up the spare key or something like that. No. He goes in there so our protagonists can get out of the room that's only got one entrance.
Yeah. But that's not all.
No.
Early in the film, when Jason Momoa decides to attack said CEO at a massive fundraiser.
Who we know is a douche because the CEO is always wearing body warmers. I'm surprised everyone isn't like, what are you in the Navy? Are you Marty McFly? What the fuck? He's like, he's introduced as like, who is he? It just was saying the script. Body warmer wearing douchebag. Like,
yeah.
But this whole scene plays out and it's not like Jason Momoa has a cunning plan. His plan is to sneak in, dress like a waiter, spill some water on him, spill a drink, whiskey or whatever on him, get him to a toilet, and then kill him.
No, it's not to kill him. He's going to hold him. He's going to hold him at knife point until he spills the guts. Because maybe again his character is an idiot because he follows like the US's plans that like, oh yeah, any information undertaken under
duress,
under duress, it's totally reliable.
It's valid.
When you hold a knife to people's throats, they don't just say anything to get you away from them.
You can use that in court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I called my Bowie knife. That's why I call it my honesty stick. There's also, again, it's like we need to get simple things you do in other movies. We need to get off the road because our Oldsmobile has been made, right? We need to get off the road till the heat dies down. Good idea in theory. In practice, they pull off in the middle of it's fucking nowhere. They're dead. Yeah. They're like outside Pittsburgh in the middle of winter. They are dead from hypothermia.
They pull off to a slope in the woods.
Yeah, and then they leave from a slightly different slope. It's not the same place later. Yeah. What's going on with the car? Why does he constantly around the front of the car? Does he have to turn it off from the engine? Is that what it is?
You know what? It just feels like a character thing that they put in,
but it's never explained.
Never explained. That's why I think it wasn't in the script. It feels like it's something they do on set. It's like,
it feels like something they do.
Has to have a character thing.
No, I think it's like it's a script thing where it's like the car is so beat up, turning the engine off doesn't turn the engine off. You have to get out and do that. But then the reason for that being in the script got cut.
No, maybe, yeah.
You know. Also,
also
later on, when they swap that car out, you know, an Oldsmobile, which you know, it's an old car. People in America drive cars well past their scrap by date.
Yeah.
They pick the most obvious, like easily identifiable vehicle in the world. It's got a phone number written on the side of it.
Can I also ask? Did he just grab a piece of like wall siding and shove it down the window and
there were those French blinds, right? Those kind of twisty blinds, I think.
Yeah, but like I don't think that's how you unlock cars, right?
No, I mean,
it's a hook thing,
again,
it's a mechanism thing.
Somebody saw the thing where, you know, that there's a tool that car thieves use,
always use.
which kind of looks like one of those things, but I think it has a
but
hook
it's
on
got
the
a
end.
thing at the end.
does have a
I
hook
was
at
just
the end.
gonna say. That's
Or
not
I
the
think
point.
in a pinch from other movies, I think on certain cars you can
Coat
use
hanger.
a coat hanger. Yeah.
Yes.
You got to
Yeah.
hook it down underneath. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, he just does this thing, and I'm like,
Chunk.
okay, I guess that's how that car works. Lucky him.
And then, like, there is nothing even remotely. It's like they didn't even try. There's nothing even remotely accurate about any of the depictions in this film, right? I love it. I love it when movies just shoehorn depictions of journalists in. Here, there's this Vice journalist that calls him
I love
up.
that they drop Vice, though. Can I
Yeah.
just say,
I love that they drop Vice,
they
yeah.
name drop
Who
Vice.
calls him
And-
up?
and
And
I
he's
love-
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I got the dirt.
Investigative journalism.
I can help you break this thing wide open, but you've got to meet me covertly." And they do this completely pointless scene where they keep changing trains
Yeah.
so that they can speak in secret on another train.
Which-
But the
which
plan is
mysteriously
so
empties.
foolproof. Yeah,
Yes.
but the plan is so fucking foolproof.
A
that even his
13-year-old girl.
teenage daughter can follow him,
Yeah.
and this crack journalist.
I love the fact that, did you realize the crack journalist is the guy who tells Scott Pilgrim who Ramona Flowers is? Do you know a girl with hair like this? And he goes, yes,
Yeah.
that's Ramona Flowers. She's over here or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also in New Girl.
Was
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
yes.
he's one of the boyfriends. Yeah.
Boyfriend. So he's the Chanel's boyfriend.
Yeah, that whole thing. And then the train stops long enough for them to have that action scene, even though it's way longer. And there's no
Yeah.
security. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. An
No.
assassin just
Gun-
shows up and goes at him.
Gunfires.
Also,
Yeah.
again, maybe this wasn't a Jason Momoa joint. It's again where the script was like from something else. But the hitman guy, he is. I at one point I thought, is he a robot from the future? Because he takes a punch square in the face from fucking Aquaman, and he he doesn't even blink. He doesn't
and you
flinch.
know what?
It's not even It's not even given this. It's not even. Oof. It's just like he leans into it. He likes it. It's insane.
And you know what? Like it's one thing if your lead actor is not Jason fucking Momoa.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the
And-
Terminator problem. The Terminator was originally supposed to be Lance Henriksen because he's someone who blends in with any crowd. You wouldn't think
Yes, yeah,
he's a robot from the
yeah.
future, as opposed, you know, the 15-foot tall Austrian
opposed-
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And also to then have shown him a couple times sort of like be really good at fighting and boxing, and he goes to the gym and shit, and he can't throw a punch or something, or the hitman's from the future and a robot. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah, it just feels half-assed.
But it's cheap shortcuts to kind of establish that, oh wait, this guy must be a badass, and because it's just it's really cheap shortcuts.
And
And this movie is full of them.
I think what it is it's the, we're losing lights, so let's wrap it up. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the point actually where you can see him kind of punch limply so that he doesn't quite. I think he punches too hard. He almost hits Jason Momoa. So I think
Oh, really?
he
I
goes
watched it.
limp-wristed, so he doesn't. So he just gives him a little touch. I think at one point.
Like,
It's like you know, there's foreshadowing with the window, and they're like, "Oh, we can't throw." You're saying we can't throw someone out the window of a moving train. Okay, we'll do it at the station, I guess. You know, it's all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. It's a movie that is completely full of compromises, but I don't think it was because of budget or production issues. For me, I think the compromises was because the writers were so enamored by their fucking twist. Because when I look back at the film to the supposed hints that they're giving to kind of justify this twist in the third act, I'm like, oh yeah, you're trying to make everything work around those key moments.
this one thing, yeah.
And
Can we do
there are
spoilers now?
but one thing, so before we do that, there is like it does share with Reminiscence. There is some incredibly hokey voiceover.
Yes.
That's and that does see. I think this is the thing. Did you watched it after Uma had said on Slack that it was like dumbass twist? Had you, Bahir?
Yes. Yes. I did.
So me too, because I was wondering if I hadn't been looking out for it, what I would have thought. Like, did it catch you by surprise, Uma? Before we get into it, just to give it a little review bit.
So it didn't. When it happened, it didn't.
Yeah.
But it caught me by surprise a bit before it happened.
Okay, because when you by mentioning it to me,
I notice it immediately.
Yeah, because by when you mentioning it, I was just like, I started noticing things, and that's like I didn't know what the twist was, but seeing
I know the moment which you would have, because it's signposted, in such an obvious way at that moment, and I didn't notice it at that moment. I only noticed it a little later down the road.
Right.
So it's really is it number one? It's really high on the Netflix charts, but
it's number one. Yeah,
it's
for
number
sure.
one.
I mean.
Momoa, it's a charming guy.
It's a revenge fantasy with Jason Momoa. I mean, it's bound to be number one. Just like all of these movies, actually, even the old releases, when they come back onto Netflix, when they add a Stallone film or a Schwarzenegger film or a Nicolas Cage movie, it's always in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the final thing before we hit spoilers. How did he know there'd be 3 cars? How did they know they'd use that? How did they know they'd use that tunnel when the Hitman guy didn't use that tunnel? And I was one plus to this thing with this movie. I was like, that's a very small tree. Why don't you just drive over it? They did try and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But both this and Reminiscence both feature overdone voiceovers, and also water features heavily. I forgot to mention in Reminiscence how fucking annoyed I got at that water scene.
Yeah.
Just because if you're the type of person who, when you're watching a movie and you see people go underwater, hold their breath, and you hold your breath along with it, you're dead in Reminiscence. There's an element of that here, but there's also like you're dead and then you're not dead in both movies. And it's not it's not the cute Enola Holmes way of doing it. It's just a dumbass plot way of doing it.
But also, even just watching this film with that voiceover was used as a sneak, right? It was used to signpost the big twist as well. And then at the end of the film, when they kind of do a little reversey thing with the voiceover, you're like, no, that's fucking stupid. It doesn't actually. No, but when it happens, I'm like, you're trying to be cute. I see what you're doing, but actually, you've done this whole character dirty, right? You want to put up the spoiler picture, man?
because Uma can't wait for that. Yeah.
Because it's not Jason Momoa. It was Rachel all along.
Yeah.
Because Jason Momoa dies at the beginning of the film. And you noticed it when the light went really bright, right, Ian?
When's the light go
When
bright?
you figured it out?
No, it's when like they're in a different apartment and she looks at the window and he's not around, and then he appears in the mirror or in the reflected in the glass. I'm thinking like, I wonder if he's dead. And then later on he comes back. He comes back to the house. And like he's like Rachel, and she's not there, and then she is, and then I'm like hearing Jeremy Norton's voice going, "Change." It's called changeover. It's when one personality switches over to the other, and you just blank out. You don't realize anything's happened. Right? That's the scene from Fight Club, right? Because this movie's Fight Club and The Sixth Sense, and
exactly, and that's the problem. It doesn't actually learn anything from those movies.
Yeah.
Because even when it's trying to do the rope-a-dope and fool you, when she's on the phone at one point and he's supposedly fixing sleigh bells on the door, like none of those timelines.
Yeah, they don't match up. I don't think it doesn't even try for that shit. And when it does things, it fucks up. So it's when I was like, maybe it looks like he's dead. And then when she's talking to the FBI agent, it's like, it's Rachel. And she's like, and the FBI agent catches on pretty quick. She's like, oh, this is a split personality situation. So like, you're in control. Like she's talking her like command phrases or whatever. But when you know she's talking to Rachel, everyone else that Ray talks to is outside the room. But then you've stupid things like you never see her buy the burner phone. So he bought the burner phone or whatever. It's like, that's like, are you trying to be cute by hiding it and implying shit happens off screen, but then you're showing everything else?
Yeah.
No, but like I think my issue with it is that it never did. I don't believe, or I can't. I don't know where I land with regards to, is it a split personality thing, or is it just her really living her father's or his or her imagination of the father's fantasy? Because you know what I mean? Because there was that bit in the end where she's lying down on the bench. and she's talking to the father.
Yeah.
Is that her talking to herself? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
No, that is because
is it a split personality thing?
there
or
is because
it
like
just a-
he books the hotel room. He's clearly
Yes.
talking to the woman while she's out of
Yeah.
sight. So there is a dominant personality thing going on. That's why I mean it's probably a better idea in the script, or it's just not covered more thoughtfully. But the FBI director, that's why the FBI agent keeps saying you're in control.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
she's
that-
trying to
the FBI.
she's trying to get Crazy Jane out of the underground.
Yeah, but it just feels like that FBI agent locked in on that really fast, quick.
Oh yeah, I mean when she's talking about her father, it's like oh we gotta. She should have just said, "Hey guys, we got another loony bird here. She thinks her dad's alive." You know, she might as well have just said
Yeah.
that, right? That's what that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I for me, the problem, well, there are many problems, but one of the problems was also after the twist is revealed, the only thought that went through my head was,
When's this
wow,
over?
this would have been, well, no, but wow, this would have been a much more powerful movie if it was Isabela Merced's movie. So, fucking kill off Jason Momoa. I know he's hot shit and you want to have him in your whole movie, but you could have had him as a ghost, actually. But to see her do the kick-ass stuff,
Yeah.
because right now, all she does throughout the film is stand in a corner looking stupid.
Or sit in the car. She sits in the car for a bit.
Exactly.
Well,
That's
but
except when she doesn't.
When the flip happens, she does the MMA. She goes full.
Exactly. And so, and yet again, even when that happens, I'm like, ugh, yeah, you have this one scene in the gym, which is supposed to make me believe that she can take on hordes of trained killers and professional bodyguards.
They're good with
and
guns
a
though, but
hitman.
that's the thing. She like it's like what? So she's had at least 2.5 years minimum, because they gave us the numbers. It's like I don't know. Yeah, we're watching the recent Good Fight, right? And like they have to start off the new season, they talk about they just do previously on like for all the intervening months. And at one point, Marissa, who's the private investigator, says, "I think I want to become a lawyer." And Lucas says, "Oh, that will take about 2 years." And then it's like pandemic happens. 2 years later, I'm a lawyer.
yeah.
And it's like it's a really fun way of moving around people leaving the show and getting the cast back to what they want to do with their law show. But that is what they've done here. It's like she's been doing MMA. MMA is all about that, submissions, moving. I didn't have any problem with that. I get the using someone else's body weight against them. She nearly kills that man, and like I buy that. Yeah, I said like you said, I would have preferred to seen her doing all that stuff. It would have been great. Even we got that small flashback at the end, but
Yeah.
then we get onto the actual ending. Oh, was it before the ending? Oh yeah, but yeah. So who could possibly be behind this plot?
Who
Who
could it be?
Who's left? No one's left. It's either the CNN anchor.
There are no major actors left. in
It's
the
either
film.
either the CNN anchor, the Jason Momoa threatened live on air. You know, who put people through without screening them on phone shows anymore. It's like, hi, I want to kill this guy. That's fine. It's either that person or it's the senator on the big screen behind, because there's no one else in this movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, hello. No, wait, something's going on.
We've got a guest.
We do.
Hang up the phone, Mom. I'm on.
There we go.
For those of you listening along,
Mom,
This is
I'm
why-
on the line.
This is why. This is why we don't do it live, so we can edit.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
So somebody just broke
I mean-
into our Zoom call there. Hackers, prank
Yeah.
caller. Who is this?
Hackers
Hang on, yeah.
everywhere. Yeah. Sorry, where were you?
Sorry, that gives us a quick break just to say, you know, Zhan Yuzing was asking when will you guys review The Green Knight, and that'll be when we can get our hands on it, I think, right?
So,
Yeah.
I think the Blu-rays and DVDs should be out.
Oh, okay.
Because I know it's available to rent on VOD already,
Cool.
but I think
But not
Blu-rays and
here.
DVDs come out like a week after they do the rental on iTunes and stuff. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's the same. Like Snake Eyes is out on VOD.
Suicide Squad will try and get to round 2. It's just tricky because they keep sitting on the fence what they're doing with that.
I think with Suicide Squad,
We've been asked that as well
They
on
have
Twitter,
to wait until the 30 days is up on Max.
Oh,
Yeah.
then it'll just come to HBO here.
Oh, I don't know about HBO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I meant it'll get on DVD, Blu-ray, and VOD.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, back to what I was saying. But yeah, it's like there's no one else left in this movie, and it's like Brian Cox just swans in from Succession or something. Like, what are you gonna, you know what I mean? Or just like Patrick Stewart turns up. Be just something completely out of the ordinary like that, or that bastard Kittredge from those Mission Impossible movies. That might work. Just assume I hate that guy. It's got to be him, right? That makes sense. But
even then, it's just lazy fucking writing. Who's the bad guy? Oh, it's a corrupt politician. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. We've seen this in every TV show, in every movie, time immemorial. It's just a corrupt politician. And
that doesn't make sense.
Because this corrupt politician hasn't seen any other movies herself. So when she's confronted with the person, she's like, I'm going to spill the beans. She might be recording it like everyone does, but no, I will tell you exactly how I killed everyone, hired a hitman, because this is the world we live in and this is how business is done.
But she didn't.
What the fuck?
She didn't. She just said a few things that are going to be easily explainable away in court. And also, again,
this person had a gun to my
having
face.
watched seasons of The Good Fight and The Good Wife, every couple of seasons they were flip-flopping on whether one single party voice recordings were admissible as evidence. Like in certain seasons of The Good Wife, it was like, we'd like to admit this. It's like, well, it's single party. One person knew it was recording, therefore it's not admissible. And the next season, it was like, actually, the law's been updated, which is an interesting, rip from the headlines things that led into The Good Fight, and they've done that as well. None of which really accounts to the fact for she recorded the whole conversation from her back fucking pocket. So all she's got on that tape is... That's all she's got. Like, it's not...
That's all.
Is she wearing sound conductive pants?
She's got a mic. No, she's got a mic.
On an iPhone. She's got a mic on an iPhone.
You can buy those, man. I mean, my dad's bought a camera thing attachment. You can buy these.
Stop trying to logic this shit, Bahir.
I honestly, this movie just bored me.
Yeah.
I'm not angry at all.
But then,
to me, it's a waste of 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I've got no hard
No, but that's what made me angry, because if it was an hour and 20 minutes, then I would be okay with being bored. But at 2 hours, I'm sorry, you've gone past the threshold of annoyance.
But then you wouldn't get the scene where she has Bitcoin for some fucking reason. Why?
Why the fuck does she have Bitcoin? Who bought her Bitcoin?
Where does the crazy woman who lives in a slum, why does she have Bitcoin, and why hasn't she been using it to pay for fucking Oreos?
Also, she has no money. None of them have money. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
They spend everything. That's why they're living in a shitty apartment, because cancer treatment is really expensive in the US. And yet, at the end of the film, she's got Bitcoin to buy a plane ticket to go somewhere. What?
Jason Momoa bought the Bitcoin that one time. He bought one Bitcoin.
One.
At $2 that one time.
Even if they had signposted that shit in the beginning, it would have made more sense.
Yeah, it's like, mom was like, I'm putting something away for when mom is dying, so I'm putting something away for a rainy day. Here's a Bitcoin, and maybe it'll grow.
Yeah. Here's a joke.
Many years ago, she was like, I don't know what this digital cryptocurrency is.
Yeah.
I'll put $10 into it.
Yeah, 4 years ago, that still would have been too expensive. It was like that's why it's many years ago.
That's why it's many, my friend.
Yeah, when there's a scene missing when they're camping in the fucking woods where she says, I'll make dinner in a minute, and I'm looking into some crypto in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. I will say though, this movie took me a lot longer than 2 hours to finish.
Yeah,
because I kept wanting to.
Sorry,
do everything.
Bahir started watching this movie this morning. He finished at 3 p.m. It took him 7 hours to watch this movie.
I just kept wanting to do everything but watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, new email. Let me check my email. I have to go and do this. Ooh, let me schedule this thing.
I need me to cut your fingernails?
Yeah,
sure.
At one point, I literally was like, I haven't done the dishes yet. Let me go do the dishes. Pause the movie, went to do the dishes.
I should really descale the kettle. Yeah. That's urgent. Urgent work needs to be done.
Yeah. This movie took me way longer than 2 hours to finish.
No, but here's the thing, right? It's number one on Netflix, and I can understand that, because if I see a Jason Momoa movie, or any kind of, hot Hollywood star in a film, I'll click play. Sure, I want to watch it. I want to see what they're doing. But what I want to know is, I want to know what you people think after you've seen the actual thing. Like, are you there recommending it to your friends so it continues to be number one? Or is there just a critical mass of people who clicked play on Saturday?
There's probably just
Yeah, that's probably.
it's just
yeah.
they click play and then fell asleep. Like they don't have to put the phone in their lap instead of the newspaper over them. It's just like whatever. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true, and it takes more than 2 hours for Netflix to go. Are you still watching?
I mean,
No,
you
but
know,
it's a movie, right? It doesn't stop you.
Yeah, but we publicized the To Dumb thing, and they were like talking about we're celebrating all the Netflix stars, and it's like Extraction, and we're like, I know, like,
Oh, no.
it has
But there's
great,
two.
it has great numbers for them. That's great, but it's not Gone with the fucking Wind. As much as I like Chris Hemsworth, you know what I mean?
Oh no, but Extraction 2 is coming. I think that's what it's going to be about.
Oh, really?
Because they are making a sequel. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think they fucking greenlit it. So he's not dead at the end of that movie.
I guess.
Unlike this one.
Unless he's Jason Momoa's dad as well, and there's like a flashback. It runs. Looks like crazy runs in the family. I do love the fact that I always thought that was some Aquaman tattoo that Jason Momoa has, the kind of scales thing. Maybe
it's a Jason Momoa.
Yeah, it's a Jason Momoa thing.
It is a Jason Momoa.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure the makeup department in Aquaman was just like, he's going to be topless the whole time. Fuck it. The tattoos part of it.
It plays there. I mean,
to spend 7 hours putting paint on that guy. Yeah.
I guess that's why he wore that coat all the time in Stargate Atlantis. I guess it wasn't cold. He's just hiding all his tattoos. He had a really nice leather coat, but it was very long sleeved. Everyone else was like had their combat fatigues and was rolling their sleeves up, and he's just there looking grumpy with his dreads.
I also got really confused for a second because Isabella Mona changed her name to Isabela Merced. So Isabella Mona was in Dora the Last Explorer and Sicario 2, and that's where we've seen her.
Okay.
And she's brilliant. And then I was like, man, this girl looks really familiar. And then when I IMDb'd it, I was like, oh, she changed her glamour name.
Well, did you also look at the poster on the Netflix media site? Because for some reason it's Jenna Coleman.
What?
In the poster, it looks like the Photoshopped face looks like Jenna Coleman. It's really weird.
Let me look that up.
There's just so much. I mean, if it isn't obvious already, we've been ranting for about half an hour. There is just so much wrong about this film. Yeah, so Sweet Girl is now streaming on Netflix.
Shame about her dad.
Shame about her dad. Yet again, another one of those movies where you're just sitting there going, "Oh!" They said the name of the film.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in? Lego fan in PJ tweeted us. He just said, "Combi van were the screenwriters drunk watching Back to the Future while penning the script." So,
I mean, I guess
Thanks,
I think maybe he needed it for the. So he had a flat bit so he could make those like bazooka shotgun shells. But then, like, did you notice they had him fire one off and then they panned up because obviously they didn't want to show the device that was making the bomb explosions?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's artistic, dude. They wanted to show the lights and the birds flying away, man. It's cool. Art.
Let us know what you thought of this movie because we know you've already seen it. Reach out, Goggler MY, all of our social media feeds.
Where to the spoiler zone?
Yeah, podcast at goggler.my. Also 012-524-5208 to WhatsApp us on the Goggler hotline. Daphne, thank you so much for tuning into our live stream. You know what? Do us a favor. Listen to us again in the morning.
Yes.
When you go for your run on Spotify.
I also have a comment from a Amanda Koo that says, "Sorry, I accidentally grade crashed." Don't know who that is.
She's the hacker.
Hackers. Yeah, I think that's wow, that's about it. But
That's
also if you've seen Reminiscence, we're really curious to find out what you thought about that because we know there are a lot of Lisa Joy fans out there because they absolutely adore Westworld. So we want to know what you thought about her directorial debut. So reach out about that as well. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Goggler Podcast.